I could have sold my company eons ago and just got in the passenger seat and been looking at my phone as we on the way to the destination. As we on the way to pick up the money. I don't even know the sale name. I don't even know the person that signed the check name. I just know I got something from it. I didn't want to do it that way. I want to be able to teach people how to fish, and that makes me dangerous because the infrastructure is based on us feeding you, not you being able to feed yourself. You can't go in our fridge. You can't go in our icebox. See how this industry work? You don't get to just go in the kitchen and go in the icebox in this industry. I don't give a fuck who you is. Unless you one of them niggas been here 20 years and you done some things that shouldn't have been done in order to further your career. And that ain't everybody. So I ain't casting a wide net, but I'm speaking to the things that I have been told and I've saw myself. Certain individuals I've seen involved with things and then turn around and go be involved with things that's counterproductive to the thing that they posture themselves as being on the side of. So I pay attention. That's why I'm in business with the people I'm in business with, because the people I'm in business with, I know their track record. My friends in this industry, I know about what they'll do. But I do want y'all to know being in business with people is a different thing, because business takes the front seat. The priority now is business. All right? And the reason the theme is that is because we're going to speak about Joe Budden going over to some podcast. I think it's Know the Need or something like that. Needs to Knows or some podcast. And he spoke. And these guys used to work with Joe. And they blurred the lines between friends and business. See, I'm from the South. And in the South, we learn something quick. Whether it's true or not, we heard a lot about Birdman and his business practices, right? And if you was from the hood and you was from the projects, or you had any kind of money, or you had any kind of relationship with the hood, right, in regards to getting some money off the land, you looked at that situation and said, oh shit, let's just entertain the fact that somebody like Birdman could trick a nigga. Because in the ghetto, everybody is infatuated with shiny things and big cars and lavish lifestyle. So if I can put you close to that, you'll fake your way through the rest of it. These niggas really don't want no money, love one. They just want to be close to the money. They gonna fake their way through the rest of it. They just want to be in the pictures and in the car. They gonna fake their way through the rest of it. They just want you to put them next to it. They gonna fake their way through the rest of it. And so you get yourself in a position where you notice that. And so Joe Budden being this figure in this podcast space, this dude said he'll drive 50 miles to work for him. That mean I gotta suck on the hook. No disrespect to Sylvester, I think that's his name, whatever his name is. No disrespect to him. But when you reach out to a nigga and say I drive 400 miles to come do it free, I gotta suck on the hook. Opportunity. I just need an opportunity. I just want an opportunity, right? And I get it though. Presentation is so important though. Ain't it crazy that Virgil can sell you the same Air Force One with his presentation on it at triple the price? Ain't it crazy that same water is 50 cents in that corner store and $6 in that hotel? So if I'm Joe Budden, not saying he done this, but if I'm Joe Budden and I hear that, because I want to be clear when I talk about this, because knowing his participation, and you looking at a dude that done built it, so I'm telling you, ain't no more guessing with this thing. All of these guys ran into Joe Budden at a time where he needed help. He needed that push. He needed that look. He needed that. Although his fame was where it was, although his podcast was already great, it was already a good product, there's a certain, I don't know how I can put it, but there's needed parts. There's needed elements, right? It's like with the action figure. Like, you got to put the arms on it and the legs on it. You see what I'm saying? Like, they had the body was already put together. That shit was together. Savon to get the titles right and make sure our descriptions is right and make sure that our socials is ran right. And then he know a dude that'll come in and run the screen. He know a guy who will connecting all of these dots. A long time ago, though, I paid attention to this situation. I said, yo, Joe Budden and Savon ain't cool. And let's be clear also, I'm probably the only one that talk to both of these guys publicly. I don't know. I really don't look at podcasts, so I don't know. All the hippity hoppity podcasts, I really don't look at them, right? I'm dancing outside of that. But when we really, that's why I'm trying to tell you about the platform I'm building. It's a different thing. I'm probably the only one that's talked to both of these guys. So when we even talk about being qualified, this is another trick they use, man. Let's address the qualified thing, because people always say go get qualified. And here's someone qualified telling you you ain't got to be qualified. Trust me, all these dudes know you don't got a resume till you got a resume. Don't let them trick you into thinking that you need to be in a position that they in to even speak. No, sir. I would argue the contrary. I would say if you spent 20 years in this business and they got you doing something that they got you doing something that's a very tangible occupation, I would say you should probably ease up on how you feel about your authority. Because you landed amongst some niggas who ain't had no. Bro, come on, man. I don't want to get into that. How you end up down here wrestling with the niggas who ain't never been in the industry? Niggas can't pick their phone up and call nobody. How you down here wrestling with these niggas? Problem was when Charlemagne put me in that conversation, they was mad that you see how a nigga bring you in the ring for the Royal Rumble? Charlemagne brought me in the ring for the Royal Rumble. They didn't like that. I'm in the ring now. But these niggas squabbling with niggas who numbers ain't even called, who ain't even in the ring. And then then they go to telling us we ain't qualified to talk about it. And I believe D1, I'm gonna address him in a minute too. Because there's credence to what he's saying. But there's circumstance that I don't think he's considering. That's me. But this qualified thing gets us wrapped in a weird place where they only want to talk to their peers because they know their peers don't want to talk to them. See, none of their peers are doing this. So they say only my peers can talk about this. Well, none of your peers are doing this. And the ones that's doing this, they ain't doing it the way you doing it. So the ones that's doing it the way you doing it, hey man, you got to battle with them niggas. This is where you landed. But it pains me to see certain people that's on the top of the mountain. It's almost like being in the ring, and I'm guilty of this too, right? It's almost like being in that same Royal Rumble I was just talking about a minute ago. When Charlemagne tagged me into the Royal Rumble, they didn't like that. You know, everybody in here, me, Nori, Joe, Wallow, Gilly, Act, This the Royal Rumble. Everybody's in here. Rory, Mal. It's niggas in here. Fred Taylor, Brandon Marshall. Nigga, the whole all black media. Charlamagne brought me in the Royal. See, at first, I'm standing out there grabbing niggas' legs. Trying to help somebody else get a nigga, right? Charlamagne tagged me in. Because even though I was outside the ring, everybody know you got to get tagged into the ring. All of them niggas know that. That's why they play that qualified talk. Because they know if ain't nobody tagged you in, the game is to act like you don't see it. Act like you don't see it. But they done tricked these same niggas who live like that their entire careers. They done tricked these guys into turning the other cheek and turning they back on the Royal Rumble and talking to the nigga outside of the, you know how the nigga over the ring. Oh, you bitch at talking to the manager. They done tricked these niggas to talking to the manager. You got your back turned on your homeboy. One of your people gonna hit you with a chair and go NWO on you. Joe Budden went on this podcast. I want to talk about some of it. I ain't even looked at it. We gonna watch it together. I just know at this part right here, he discussed Rory and Mal. So for those of you who are unaware, Joe Budden Podcast used to be a podcast that had two other co-hosts who helped him foundate and build that show by the name of Rory and Mal. Both of those gentlemen have spoke with Loon on this Up There podcast. I've had the enjoyment of speaking with those individuals. Both of those guys were pretty cool guys, in my opinion. I'm also going to do their show really soon. Be on the lookout for that. These gentlemen here worked with Joe behind the scenes. They all left. I think there's also something to be said about Joe knowing them niggas left thinking that he was falling. Pay attention to all of this conversation that's about to happen. Let's go.
Therapy sessions.
Yeah.
I think I took too much time to process that. I'm gonna talk for real. Where we?
Watch NHL games live on a variety of networks.
Where we at? Phase 5 or the meeting?
All right, phase 5 then the meeting. Go phase 5.
Because I need to hear about this meeting.
Oh, then we might as well get to the meeting.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, yeah.
How is it not a secret meeting?
Because we're production. Production always leaves after talent.
When did this happen, first of all?
After recording.
Like what year? I mean, like.
All right, so okay, let's set some framework. They're addressing this secret meeting that led to the breakup. You're gonna hear their side. You heard Mal's side on my show. Me and Rory didn't really get into it, but Mal spoke to it. But you're gonna hear what these guys said, who I believe to be the match that lit the flame. Pay attention.
2020.
Like years ago?
This happened years ago. This is the beginning
remember.
of the end.
Okay.
The beginning of end of phase 3.
Okay.
The beginning of the very
With
end.
Rory and Mal.
Now, what I will say about this quote-unquote secret meeting, it wasn't a secret meeting, okay? It was a Friday night in Queens, and Joe wanted to leave. Joe left early. You happened to just leave. But listen.
Capping your raps.
How was that cap?
Oh, cap it.
How was that cap?
Nah, get it off. Get it off.
I'm not going to interrupt you. Go ahead. Joe left early, or was the work done?
The work.
See, this lets you know he's already on defense, or this may be naturally how he is. I believe this is a good outlook to have and just understanding framing. First thing he paid attention to was he didn't even let him get one sentence in. Hold up, whoa. I'm already seeing your framing. I'm seeing how you coming. That already mean I'm looking for that, because I believe that whenever you sit down in these chairs to do a podcast, you need to have your shield and your arrow ready. You need to have no matter who you sitting across from, you need to have your shield and your arrow ready. Right here, it seemed like he had his shield ready because he paid so attention to the framing of this little itty bitty sentence. Joe decided to leave early. Whoa. He stopped that. I just want you to know atmosphere is important. It ain't all about language. It ain't all about what he's saying. It's body language you got to look at. It's atmosphere you got to pay attention to. And also, as somebody that do podcasts, you got to know who got the advantage in these situations. One of the reasons I didn't want to be fully prepared for Dr. Umar is because I didn't really want it to be so like unfair like that, while I'm drilling down statistics and there's nothing he can say. He ain't did no research on some of these things. So I just wanted to spar with ideas. You have the advantage when someone sits in your chair, they don't know what you coming with. They probably know what topics you'll hit on, but they don't kind of know what you're coming with. But you've crafted this. This is your baby. You come, that's my first layer to frame it like that. This is how I'm getting myself out of the secret meeting. Joe wanted to leave. It really wasn't a secret meeting. He wanted to. That wasn't how it. I'm already trying to dig what I'm saying. I done thought about how do I craft this up, sit next to the guy, and we talking about it publicly for the first time.
Joe left early.
The work was done, and Joe was the first to leave.
Oh.
We're at Parks' house, so Parks is not going to go anywhere.
Joe also left with Corey and Rosa Costa.
Yes.
Yeah. So
on a Friday night.
Exactly.
On a Friday. Things
so
to do.
you were
And
out
Rosa
the door
Costa
first.
is in the car.
All right. So you were
And
out
you want
the door
me to
first.
hang out in Parks' basement
No,
with a bunch of penises.
Absolutely
So
not.
don't paint it like Joe don't have valid reason to want to get the fuck out of however long we potted for on a Friday night with Rosa Costa in town till the morning.
No, I don't think that was the case. Yeah,
So what I'll say is,
Yeah, come on, but mine sounds sexier, right?
but no,
His sounds,
it
Joe
don't.
was in a rush
It
to
don't.
leave.
It don't.
Joe just left.
Joe was not in a rush to leave. Joe was in the regular.
We were done recording.
The regular flow of the night.
Yeah.
So then
we're
how
done
is it a
recording.
secret meeting if you
Go
were
ahead.
the first one to leave?
That's where I toss it
You
back
get
to
what
you.
I'm saying?
Joe left
Okay.
Joe left.
with Corey and Rosa Costa.
There was no secret meeting. If the work is done and Joe was like, hey, I got a friend in town.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So I was
left.
out. That's true.
You left. So there isn't. It's not like we met. It's not like we conspired to be like, yo, Alex, Rory, Mal, let's stay back.
it wasn't none of
It
that
was,
shit.
oh shit, all right, work is
Wasn't none
done.
of that
Joe,
shit.
we holla at you. Go do your thing with Rosa. Y'all have a history. Y'all are friends. So y'all hit the town. Y'all hit the streets. Whatever y'all did, and that was it. We just happened to be there. Now I'm gonna give a little bit of context because again, this is the shit you can't for at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, however long that I worked with y'all, I helped or assisted in Mal's transportation. Most times I would call an Uber for him to get there and for him to go back. So a lot of the times, Mal wouldn't leave until he was like, yo, bro, I'm ready to go, right? Mm-hmm. You had left so fast to be with your friends, as you have the right to do on a Friday night, 5 minutes away from Starlets. We all know. I don't know if you went to Starlets that night. I do know it's around the corner, whatever it is you wanted to do. You left. We're sitting there. I call an Uber, and we have some waiting time. The waiting time is your
Look at
crew.
Joe.
The waiting time is the people you just left to work.
This is what I'm thinking. It's clear he's dancing. What is he doing? And I did get that name wrong. I think his name's Savon. I said Sylvester. His name is Savon. But what is he doing? He just took that because guess what? This is what people who are good in that chair, this is what they do. They know you come with something. If I knock you off that pivot now, it's back flat ground. It's my thoughts against your thoughts. And I don't think you can dance over there. But with your little scripted shit you came with the little, well, it wasn't really like that. Joe decided to leave. See, everything he had after that was on the premise of that being accepted in the conversation. But it was never accepted. I just want y'all to know about technique in this communication thing. This is deeper than just conversation when you go to talking millions of dollars being made behind this microphone. There's technique involved, right? Everybody get that? It's technique, right? But when you see a guy do that, 1 second. When you see a guy knock him off his pivot like that, that lets you know now, that's why he rambled. He's trying to figure out where am I going, and that's why Joe is like, he's lost. Pay attention.
With, And I will give you this respect, right? You have the people who work with you the closest just sitting there and people talk.
Like any job, bro.
I received that.
I
received that.
Yeah.
People that have worked corporate jobs tell me that that's normal for all of the staff to meet up covertly.
We didn't meet up.
And kick,
we didn't meet
kick
up,
the
and it wasn't
bosses
covert.
back in.
It wasn't covert.
It wasn't covert, and we
Okay,
didn't meet up.
well, that's my
They were just
perception.
there.
The supervisor left
Oh,
the
that's
office.
true. That's plausible deniability. We was just there.
Yeah,
All
like-
right. Yeah, they was just there. That's true.
Okay.
That's true. I love this. Continue.
It's like you guys are going back and forth wording it like different.
Because I want to shut up because I can't say nothing because they
No, see, he's knocked him off his pivot. To reiterate that last point, now he's in a situation he's lost. Damn, where do I go? Because everything I had was based on the premise of it wasn't a secret meeting. And I thought because I said that Joe left early, that would get that conversation grounded. But it didn't. Now we've been rambling. And you see Joe be quiet until you say something that I can speak about. Because you're rambling. Then I get in there, make another point, advance the conversation again.
was there.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I can't.
Okay.
This is not my story
I
to
want to
tell.
know what happened. I want to know what
Oh, I
happened.
got you.
Okay, let's go.
People, Rory Mal, it was me, Rory Mal, Park, Savon, and
Erickson.
And Erickson. Shout out to E, man. I ain't seen E in a minute. And people were talking about, Rory and Mal were discussing how, they were discussing the workflow. And they feeling overworked and maybe how we could reposition how to record or just other ways around it, right? I'm gonna be honest with y'all though. I was confused why them niggas was talking to us. Cause I'm like, respectfully, what am I gonna do? I'm just keeping it 1,000, but I get it though. When people have
Listen, I spoke to Rory and Mal, so I can speak about this clearly and from a clear standpoint. I want you guys to know. I don't believe Rory and Mal took that conversation to them. I believe they took that conversation to Rory and Mal because those guys were too afraid to take it to Joe. I think Rory and Mal had already been in a situation where they're going back and forth with Joe already, and that meeting or that conversation may have put icing on their cake to say, damn, the rest of the staff came to us about this new Patreon thing and what's going on. And why would we do that? And what's that about? And what are we making? And what's the breakdown? These guys are asking us these questions because they quit. Both these guys quit. So it ain't like they were being treated and paid in a way where they were turning down gigs. They were at the Joe Budden Podcast actively searching for different jobs. Nobody was vetting Sylvester and Scream Man. I mean, Savon and Scream Man. Nobody was vetting them. They were actively looking for other jobs while sitting on the Joe Budden Podcast. I believe them to think that podcast falls off. I believe Savon and Scream Man to think Joe Budden Podcast falls off. And so they dipped on them. And they said to themselves, you know what? I got a trick for you. We're going to build our own thing. We're going to do our own thing. But again, for them to say Rory and Mal came at them, I just think this is doing a disservice to the position that Rory and Mal held at that company. And I spoke with both of them. So their conversations was clear to Joe behind the scenes as to, yo, man, we got to look at some things. They had already been in communication with Joe. They had no reason to communicate with Sylvester and Scream Man. I mean, Savon and Scream Man. It was not a thing, in my opinion. I want to reiterate this point. Introduction is so important. There's a saying that says you only have one time to make a first impression. So you must remember that what happened with Joe Budden and Savon was their relationship was built on a tweet in which a man said, yo, I'll come do it for free right now. It don't matter. Just let me do it, please. I'll drive 300 miles. Sound like a sucker to me. And I ain't calling this dude a sucker. I'm telling you from a position of power what that sound like. The boy said he gonna cost him to get here, and he gonna get here. And he gonna do it for nothing. Either he gonna poison my food or something. What's up with him? But he just wanted to be down, wanted to be involved, and then he wondered why he got pigeonholed into working for Lord than he wanted to work for. Boy, you come started for free. Boy, you would have done it for free. You don't remember how we met? Not saying you don't deserve nothing, but I'm saying this is why your gratitude is so in a different place. But you bailed out on the ship. You niggas was actively watching and looking for other jobs while you was sitting on the board platform. Wasn't the most great spot for you. But every time you see him, you shining his shoes. Respectfully. Every single time I've saw these individuals, they've been shining Joe Budden shoes. And these are the same individuals that I believe were underpaid and overworked. Yeah, I think you looking at the underpaid and overworked. Now, I don't think you need to look no further. And guess what else I think? I think Joe Budden sitting in there knowing he looking at the people who were screaming underpaid and overworked. Because you niggas bailed out right before the cake was baked. And here I come pushing back up on y'all boys. I see y'all swimming, y'all doing all right. Y'all got a little bitty boat. It's fine. We all start somewhere. But you stepped off a yacht to go get a little bitty boat. Because we ran out of gas. See, I'm looking at it from a boss perspective. And saying if I'm sitting in that chair across from two guys that bailed on me when they thought it was running low and it was running dry and we were getting stagnant, they bailed out on me. But boy, every time I see them, they say they love me. As if I don't come from the Underground Railroad. As if I don't come from where they use words for trickery. Where all this shit is magic tricks. Where record labels put La Familia at the end and they use gang and they tell on you as soon as they get the chance. Like I don't come from that. But these is college boys. These is college boys, so they running low-level game. And these are my opinion. You put blood in my mouth if you don't respect them. Because my job is to let the youngsters know behind us how to identify game. If I ain't doing that, I cut the mics off. I can stop now, homie. I can quit this shit at any moment. It don't matter. Respectfully. But I'm going to say exactly what I feel, and y'all going to deal with it however you want to deal with it. Hopefully, we deal with it in a way where the youngsters learn from one of us, from somebody. They grab some from you or grab some from me. Either way, let's leave some. As we go, let's leave some, though. All of you niggas. This an OG call. In these conversations, though, let's leave some, though. This an OG call, though. Let's leave some, though.
Any near party, you gonna get it off. I get it, but to me, I'm like, fam, we not no percentage shares and nothing here. We staff for real. But again, in those conversations, they were just explaining about the workflow. I guess around that time we started to pick up, right? Was Patreon introduced yet around that time?
This was the end of the Spotify deal.
This is the end of the Spotify
So there was
deal.
a lot of question marks in the building.
Gotcha.
Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Again, as somebody who was with Joe before the Spotify deal, my perspective was, oh shit, before the Spotify deal, we didn't have much, right? We was working, making lemonade out of fucking lemons. It was,
Sure enough.